Does that translate?
No, definitely not. It's okay, it was for me. No, it was for me. They all are.
Chiudi Cri?
Fai partire il cronometro.
Già là.
Il cronometro.
Ah, cioè addirittura, Dio che
Ragazzi, è una giornata molto impegnativa. Prego.
Cominciamo? Hi. Well, since I come from Verona and you're going to play the arena at the beginning of July, right?
Yeah.
What can you tell us? And you play also another date. What can you tell us the stage? And are we gonna have any surprise? What about the production of the live show?
Yeah, this record is the first time that we really have introduced color into the band. I think because just the record as a whole, when we kind of stood back and listened to it in its completed form, Smoke and Mirrors was a really dark record, especially lyrically. It was just kind of a dark place for me when we wrote it. And so the transition to this new record, where a lot of it has been written in kind of a really healthy headspace for me, I feel like the songs have manifested themselves as much more colorful. And so, yeah, this is the first time that we're going to be introducing a lot of color into the record. So for the stage show, for the visuals, for the aesthetics, there's a lot of 80s themes on the record. There's a lot like dark 80s, like Eurythmics and The Cure influences, stuff like that. And then there's a lot of urban influences. And so, yeah, I think that the artwork for Believer is very indicative of what the stage setup will look like. It's kind of a picture of a man wandering through this dark abyss of blackness and arriving at a place of these brilliant lights and color. And we tried to bring that world into the music video for Believer, and then we're going to replicate that and try to really maximize it on a very large level for the live show. We really like to bring someone into a world so they step in the arena and feel like they've entered the world of Imagine Dragons. And this time hopefully it will be a little more positive and colorful than Smoke and Mirrors.
Hi. Who is up? 2017 Believer.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
2017 Believer, who is for you?
Of 2017? Definitely not Donald Trump. I don't know, 2017. Maybe my wife. She's having twins in a month. And so she is a warrior. She's got 2 6-pound babies in her belly right now. So that's 12 pounds of baby. And they're going to be delivered in 2 weeks from today. They could be delivered any time right now, and she still told me to go overseas and do what we got to do. So she is, you know, that's my Believer.
That's some faith.
Yeah. What about you guys? You have no faith in humanity?
I have faith in humanity. I'm just trying to think of a human that I have faith in.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yourself.
Your dog.
Yeah. I think we're all believers in this album and the music that we're about to be putting out and going on tour behind. We're really excited about the future. I think that we're probably more optimistic about what we have in front of us right now than we have been at any other point in our career. This music is some of the best music we've ever made, and to see just on the horizon that we're about to be releasing it and going and sharing it with the world is a pretty exciting thing to have out there.
Wayne?
You did good. Tied it into the album. It's beautiful. I couldn't beat it.
So why you decided to include the actor Dolph Lundgren in the video?
Why not?
Because he said yes.
Because we can.
So we all grew up. I was born in '87, so we all grew up in the '90s, and there's a lot of nostalgia for the Rocky movies for me. I mean, even from Radioactive, we like that kind of kitschy. We loved like Fraggle Rock, and we liked weird '80s movies that kind of Labyrinth, and those movies that were kind of, when you were a child, kind of haunted you in a strange way. But Rocky is very nostalgic to me, and in a really it makes me think of my childhood. So we had this idea with Believer to bring in Dolph Lundgren, and so we didn't know if he would be interested at all, but we reached out and he was a fan of the band and said he was down to do it. So I had to step up my game. I took boxing lessons for 2 months before we shot the video, and then for half of it, we had someone on set that helped us to, do what they call shadow boxing, so it's fake. And then the other half of it, they had us really box. So I took probably a good 20 punches to the face from Dolph Lundgren, and we captured a couple of those, so you see moments of those are real, real punches, and we wanted that visceral, and who doesn't want to be punched in the face by Dolph Lundgren?
Everybody?
Yeah. Yeah. No, honestly, for a couple days after, I really did I felt like my brain shook inside of my head. I felt a lot of empathy for boxers. That's not a career I would ever want to have. I don't know how they keep their heads straight. Yeah.
I think it's the money.
So,
Yeah.
posso andare io? We listened to some of the tracks, some rough mixes, I think. And I wanted to ask you about the sound, the production of this new record. This is still untitled new record. Because Believer had you produced by Mattman and Robin, and also writing with you and with the top liner, the deluxe top liner as Trent, if I pronounce it correctly.
Yeah, Justin Tranter.
So will the record be always every track will be produced like that with top liners and other people helping you, eviscerating the melodies?
Oh, that's a great question. We worked with Mattman and Robin and Justin on I want to say 2 or 3 songs on the record. And working with Justin that was the first time that I've ever written, collaborated with another writer. And it was a good experience for me because we got in the room together, and I knew Justin from previous years. We had been friends, and my wife toured with his band Semi-Precious Weapons way back in the day. And so we had kind of an honest discussion right from the beginning, and I told him I'd always written my own lyrics, and that was important to me. So I still wrote all of my own lyrics, but melodically, it was cool because we were able to be sounding boards off each other. And so I really feel like that helped elevate the melody work of, those 3 songs on the record. But the rest of the songs were just with producers, no writers.
Well, and which producers?
Yeah, so we worked with Mattman and Robin, and we worked with John Hill. He did a lot of stuff with MIA, Fantagram, more alternative acts. Alex the Kid, we worked with him on a couple songs. We've always worked with him. Joel Little did a lot of great work. He did Lord's Pure Heroin album and a lot of other really cool alternative acts. So yeah, those 4 producers. We worked with some other producers too, but those are the 4 we ended up settling with and kind of feeling the most comfortable with. And yeah, this record is the first time we've ever reached out to other producers. And so it was refreshing to us. We've always self-produced our own music, and then each record has had 2 or 3 tracks that we worked with Alex the Kid on. So it was, each record I think was 2 or 3 tracks, Alex the Kid, and the rest we self-produced. But this record is, I think every song we worked with a producer, and I think it helped us to kind of find ourselves a little more, believe it or not. Because I think it's been a struggle for us to pinpoint exactly what we wanted to do. We always wanted to try this and that, and we wanted to dabble in folk, and we wanted to dabble in electro rock, and we wanted to dabble in urban music, and having producers kind of helped us to really see what Imagine Dragons was. And I felt that's why we put out Believer first, is because Believer to me was a song that I really felt like this is Imagine Dragons. If I had to say in a nutshell what this band is and what we try to achieve, Believer is that song.
C'è qualcuno che me la traduce, che io non sono così eccezionale. Volevo sapere, cioè l'impressione che ho sentendo le loro cose è che le arrangino pensando molto ai live, cioè sono una band che si sente che suona. Grazie.
Prego, figurati. His question is that listening to your studio material, to your recorded tracks, he notices the arrangement very much. So his impression is that his idea is that you are focusing on live performances, even when you record in studio, if this is a correct idea for me.
Yeah, the other really cool thing about working with these producers is that they are able to, we tend to like the more is more approach of just, getting really big sounds by doing a lot of layers of instrumentation and production. But with these producers, it was a lot more about clarity. It's a lot more about getting the most out of each part rather than having a lot of different parts. So I feel like the record's a lot cleaner than anything we've ever done. And so that automatically helps translate live because there's less things to do on stage. So I feel like in that sense, it's gonna play really well live.
It's a personal question.
Okay.
I read you spoke about your disease, the ankylosing. I don't know the
Ankylosing
name.
spondylitis.
Okay.
It's hard to pronounce. Yeah.
Okay.
Even for Americans, it's very hard to pronounce.
Okay, how do you react to this problem, and how did you ever think to leave the band or to leave your job?
That's a good question. I think when I was really in the thick of it, so when I was in the most pain, where my body started to, what happens is your spine can start to fuse, so it becomes just like an iron pole. Like you can't bend over, you lose mobility. And so right when the band was starting to take off and elevate is really when it started to activate. And it's typically activated, autoimmune diseases like ankylosing spondylitis are activated by stress. So I'm sure I had to play a part of it. I just had my first child, and the record was blowing up and we were flying all over the world. And so it got to a point, I remember playing a show in San Diego where I no longer could, I was losing all my mobility. I couldn't move on stage, and we had a very active show, and I had to spend the whole 2-hour show just standing perfectly still in front of the microphone, and I was just in so much pain. And in moments like that, I did think, it wasn't that I thought, I don't want to do this, I just thought, I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to have a career playing music because I can't perform. And that's when I started to really go see specialist doctors, because I'd been misdiagnosed by plenty of doctors. So finally I went and saw a specialist who said, they took my blood and they said, okay, this is an autoimmune disease, this is what it's called, ankylosing spondylitis, this is how you treat it, and started with injections into my body that suppresses your immune system, because basically I have an overactive immune system, so it attacks my joints thinking that it's a disease. By doing a ton of work with doctors and a lot of yoga as well, very, homeopathic stuff, as well as seeing doctors, I'm finally what they call remission right now. So I have full mobility in my body, and there's flare-ups here and there, but yeah, it was scary when I was in the thick of it, and I have to keep an eye on it always, and always be in touch with my rheumatologist.
So now you're okay, and live will be.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Okay.
I've been pretty, you're never pain-free because there's moments where it spikes, but I've been in a very solid place for about 1.5 years now. Ever since we really got off the road is when my body healed. So, knock on wood, that, I guess this isn't wood, but when we go back on the road, I'll have to really monitor it and be careful. You have to eat very clean, and you have to be very active. So every day 3 days a week I do yoga, and 2 days a week I do weightlifting to keep the blood flowing through your body, because that's one of the best ways to stay away from it flaring up.
Ultima domanda, per favore, magari che non ho ancora parlato. Ditemi, ultima domanda.
So, posso fare io?
Prego.
Going back to the sound and maybe the inspirations behind the tracks that we listened to, I heard a lot of The Weeknd, a chorus that reminded me of Live My Life, by Rihanna. So you always had urban influences and urban, you love urban music, but it seems like you are much more deep in it in this record. what pushed you to that decision? Do you want to be more like an R&B band
Right.
rather than a rock band? Or?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I don't think we've ever been concerned with being a genre. I think the public has labeled us as a rock band, which is, you know, that's fine, we don't care, but what is a rock band today? It's changed so much, it always is changing, because all the genres are just blurring. So really we're just creating music that we like, that inspires us. And some songs, like Believer, are a little bit heavier and you know, are driven by a more rock sense. But then there's songs on the record like, probably the one that you were thinking of was I Don't Know Why. That has a very kind of 80s dark urban vibe to it. And there was definitely a lot of influences from like Ben Conn. I wouldn't say The Weeknd so much as Ben Conn, but just artists like that who influenced us. Yeah.
But even in the vocals, because you seem to sing in a more R&B and black way. I don't know.
Okay, like urban
I
kind
can
of
say
thing.
that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think. I mean, I love urban music. I grew up on tons of urban music, and so it's always influenced the band. But I think probably peaks his head up more on this record. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is the first time that we've been in such a box creating that we really don't have perspective. You know, so it's interesting to us to hear the first thoughts. This is the first time we've sat down with people who've listened to the music and say, "Hey, it sounds like this," and we're like, "Oh, I didn't know it sounds like that," but cool, you know.
I'm terribly sorry, but we have to start.